I know less about hip hop and rap music than I do about French cuisine. And that halftime show, I caught up a little bit. I mean, I was back in the 70s when I was going to community college. I took some of the first history classes that weren't just standard American history classes. In American history in the 1970s, I took African American history, I took Native American history, and I took what was then called Chicano history, Mexican Americans, particularly around California, because I was in California. So I was just curious about my neighbors. I wasn't trying to be anything special, but I learned a couple of things. For one thing, the Native American class was taught by a white man. That has changed a lot. I see why they want to get rid of people learning stuff like this, because if you know your history, it empowers you. And I would say that halftime show had some history in it. Even walking, living, breathing history in it. Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam. Now that's excuse me. The word uncle associated with African Americans is a very mixed bag. Uncle Tom comes from Uncle Tom's Cabin, a book that was actually about a man who was about freeing his people and the liberation of African Americans. And I dug this new shortcut so I didn't have to keep coming up to my house the other way. It was some work. That's not going to grow anymore because there is a piece of grass. So I might as well just go ahead and bone meal. What about you? You're not going to grow anymore either, are you? Yeah, you went down in a hole. Okay, you're fine. So, let's see. Where was I? So, Uncle Tom has been mistaken for a man who kind of bows down to the master. But that's not really true. Uncle Tom in the book was actually, he was into liberating his people from slavery. So how that got misconstrued is, I don't know, influences of conservative people or people who didn't think that, that African Americans had done enough or what. What are you doing up there? How in the world did you get up there? I can't even figure this out. How'd you do that? You can't be here, honey. What do I do? You got to get down. You're going to get hurt. How'd you get in here? Oh, my goodness. How did you get in here? Get out. Excuse me. So his history has been misinterpreted at least and maligned at worst. If I ride this mule, are we both going to die? I have got to fix this so you can't get up there, honey. Animals, boy, they will try to get out of anything. So seeing Samuel L. Jackson play that role of Uncle Sam telling Kendrick to play nice and all that, I gotta say I got a couple of laughs out of that. That was very interesting. Now about Serena Williams. You probably don't know this, but Serena, who is from Compton, and Kendrick is from Compton, Serena was expected not to be good at tennis. Black people didn't play tennis back then. They didn't have the opportunity. And her daddy made sure she and her sister got really good educations in tennis, and he worked them hard. And there's a lot of, especially, we can imagine the people who object most to his parenting style. But I don't really think they get to say. Because Mr. Williams knew how hard the world was on African American people. Well, I was just trying to get that to change places. That's not going to work, is it? So people say he was hard on his girls, but look where they ended up. I'm not saying that the ends justify the means kind of thing. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know if Mr. Jackson was abusive. I don't know. Uh, they don't talk about him like he was, but they also don't talk about him like they're very grateful. You know, he protected them from like interviewers asking questions you shouldn't ask children. I don't mean anything sexual or anything like that, but it's inappropriate to ask children about philosophical and political issues regarding their career and training and so on. And Mr. Jackson had to step in a couple of times and tell the interviewers to, leave off, and so he could protect his kids because, reporters, I mean, if you're dying in a car accident or something, they will go up to your spouse and say, how do you feel about the fact that your spouse's brains are all over the road, so, and they will do that to a child too, so I can understand why he would be a little, go watch some biopics on Serena and Vanessa's careers, and their childhood and so on. Go watch some. In fact, go watch a bunch of stuff to educate yourself on African American history. Now that African American history, Google has decided, excuse me, Google has decided to remove African American history from their calendars, and Native American history, and LGBT history, and any kind of diversity stuff. They've decided to remove all of that from their calendars, as though removing any references to it is going to remove the fact itself that those histories exist. It's really creepy. It's like burning the Library of Alexandria. People who burn books are not ever the good guys. So I'm really upset about that because I'm on an Android phone. That's Google. I try not to use any Google products whenever I can. I use DuckDuckGo for a search engine, Firefox for my browser, and I know that Google is sniffing around trying to collect information on me, and I resent the heck out of it because, I'm just data to sell. But now they're trying to manipulate history. Back in the day when Google was first starting out, they were saying, we'll do no wrong, and, almost like a Hippocratic oath that doctors take, but now look what doctors are doing to people. It's all about money. So about Miss Williams, Miss Serena. She did the Crip walk dance at Wimbledon one year. And certain people were outraged. One of them even said it was like cursing in church. Okay, well that to me sounds sacrilegious. It sounds like you're comparing a sports event to a religious event, and dancing is not cursing, so that's just plain insulting under any circumstances. The dance is not in any way provocative of its own. It's just bouncing up and down, There's not, no body parts are exposed or wiggling around looking too over the top, or none of that stuff. So I think maybe they objected to it because it has some associations with African American stuff, and because it has some association with the Crips. The Crips used to use that as kind of like a code dance thing. I don't know how to describe it. They would spell out the word CRIPPS with their feet on the floor to identify themselves as Crips, as opposed to being Bloods, which is another street gang. So why Ms. Williams chose the Crip walk, I'm not sure, except that the modern version of it originates in Compton. Serena's from Compton. Lamar is from Compton too, well, she's not from Compton originally, but that's where her daddy took them there to grow up and to begin coaching them in tennis. So it was a homegirl dance kind of thing, nothing vulgar or anything about it. But boy, a lot of people associated with Wimbledon, and as I said, Up until very recently, Wimbledon was only associated with, was certainly not associated with black people. Am I allowed to say white people? Apparently, some people get real triggered when they hear the word white. I don't know what that's about, except silencing everybody who has anything to say about white people, I guess. So she did that little dance as a victory dance when she won this Wimbledon, and man, everybody lost their minds about it. So I think it was really, to say the least, artistic to ask Ms. Williams to dance that particular dance at that particular event. Now, people say it's about Drake and all that, but you know, this is way beyond Drake. It's not about, it's not about Drake. It's about something bigger than Drake. I have discovered if I get these, you know, you can stack glass bottles but not to have water. I mean, if you're fishing, you get a bottle of water. Just go ahead and make a mud block. I figure that way I'll end up with a stack of mud directly. So Ms. Williams got up there and did the Crip walk. And I gotta say, I had tears in my eyes because I posted on my YouTube channel here just recently a screen capture of Henry Crip Hurd, 1930s, from Compton, an entertainer, one leg, one arm, could not wear a prosthetic, and around about the age of 13, I'm going to do something with my hands, so I'm going to set you down for a second. Around about the age of 13, Mr. Hurd started, well, I'm sure he started dancing sooner than 13, but by 13 it was looking like, my man's going to have a career doing this. He ended up on the vaudeville circuit, which was live entertainment on stages, and you would travel around with a bunch of other entertainers, singers, dancers, clowns, magic acts, comedy acts, all kinds of stuff. People dancing kind of sexy, you know, that kind of stuff. So these people would travel around the country, go to these little theaters, and for some people it was the only live entertainment they ever saw. So Mr. Hurd was, I guess you'd call it a novelty act. People didn't think a disabled person could dance, so they would watch out of curiosity and think, oh, this is going to be awful. And the man killed it. He was tap dancing, doing the rumba. What else did he do? Boogie woogie. Boogie woogie. That is some, you got to catch your breath dancing with two legs and two arms. And this guy doing it, he even throw down his crutch. He wouldn't use his crutch. All over the stage, and fast-paced, and shoot, the endurance, the strength. You see what I'm saying? The endurance and strength. So here we are with Google deciding to remove all references to African American history during African American History Month. You got Serena Williams, who caught hell for doing the Crip Walk dance for her hometown of Compton after winning Wimbledon. You got Samuel L. Jackson, who has been a civil rights worker. Well, he's a little older than me, so he been around, you know. He'd been around. He was a pallbearer. That's the person who helped hold the casket at Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral. So he playing the role of the United States of America telling Kendrick how he should behave. Oh, the layers and layers of what that meant. The layers and layers of what was going on there. The game controller metaphor. The game is rigged. The whole, you know, that wasn't about Drake, what was going on. That was about authenticity versus doing what is marketable. I guess he's suggesting that Drake represents doing what's marketable, you know, like a sellout kind of thing. Ironically, some of the words in Kendrick's song had to be removed. Well, he didn't have to, but to perform them at the Super Bowl, he took out some words in his song and replaced them with other words. They were too inflammatory, but Overall, the revolution will be televised, but I'm not your guy. You got the wrong guy. You got the wrong time. You got the wrong guy. Does that mean Lamar, or does that mean the person who was in the stands to do that performance in front of Donald J. Trump? I'm going to start crying. Lord, I'm going to start crying. Fearless. Everybody up there. Fearless. Well, they might have been afraid, but they did it anyway. And that's part of the thing, you know. Serena. Yeah, I used to live real close to Compton, and I was around there quite frequently on account of I had this weird job. They sent me all over the place. So I was down there a lot because there's a shopping mall where I demonstrated the product I was selling. So I was down there when Serena and Lamar and a bunch of other people, when they were all down there too. In fact, I was living in South Central Los Angeles when the big war between the Crips and the Bloods took off. I was on Slauson Avenue near Sepulveda, if anybody knows where that is. Living in an apartment complex with a whole bunch of Latinos who were all scared to death because we didn't know what was going by. There was drive-bys. I covered most of this up so it wasn't so dangerous. And I redid my fence so that, not right here, but the horses can now, see, I redid the fence over there on the left. Whoa. I'm having a hard time maneuvering. So that the horses can, come. See what I mean about this being Swiss cheese? This is nasty. So the horses can come out now. So once in a while I actually see them out here. And that's one of the reasons I made that walkway down there. I'm hoping maybe accidentally a cow or a horse, and I covered that up. So I can't die. I might get some injuries, but I won't die. Whoops. That's embarrassing. So that's all covered. There's more glass back there in the back, too, because that's really deep. So every now and again I see donkeys and horses and mules coming on down here because I extended this out. I'll probably extend it out some more, too, because it's just nice to see them. I planted more mushrooms and lit them up and, you know. So I think I got to rethink my farm. My iron farm, it's not producing anything. I think I'm going to have to turn the mobs on and catch a zombie. Which means I'm going to have to do it more than once because I still am planning to play in peaceful. So whatever zombie I put in there, I'd better get as much iron as I can as long as I can. Because when I turn it off, the zombie will despawn. I'll take you in here and show you something that's bad news. You know we're getting an update soon, and Bedrock's gotten a couple of things already. Not even just on experimental. They've gone ahead and implemented them. Well, I've got bad news, kiddies. They've decided that llamas and horses are too big to put in boats. So these are the last llamas that you will see in boats. Because the other day I had a llama try to get in a boat and it killed it. I didn't put it in the boat. It tried to get in by itself. It may have been this one. Is this my old big slut? Ah, come on. Let me in. Might be. Hey. Oh, it's so hard. I gotta get the keyboard and stuff on, because this is just stupid. Yeah, that's the one with all the slots. That's my favorite baby. I should probably protect it better. But like I said, I can't ride it and yada yada, so I'm not sure how to protect it. Gonna have to get me a black sheep, because one of those villagers is asking for black wool. So Compton is where they just kind of funneled all the poor people in and said, here, you get to live here. The only real estate in Los Angeles that African Americans can live in. Well, not the only, but what they do is they divide up African American communities into you guys get to live over here, and you guys get to live over here, and you guys get to live over here, and then all the rest of it was for white people. Oh, and then the Mexicans are way off over there, and there's a little pocket of Asians downtown, and but they really wanted to divide up the black people. Make sure that they couldn't communicate with each other or organize and get together collectively to make any changes to improve their lives, and then pit them against each other. With drugs and other stuff, they were able to get black people to compete with each other over territory and money and jobs and who gets to sell what drugs where and all that BS, all that artificially created BS. It brought huge amounts of money into the United States. I don't know if you know this, but at one point we were using drug money from the slums to fund selling arms to people who were trying to throw over legitimate governments in Latin America. So we're capable of a lot. Well, you made it back home. You didn't need me to help you. Honest to Pete. There's an egg over there. So, Serena, you know, she's been accused, these people that, well, their excuse is they hate trans people. They're just targeting another vulnerable group because these days it's not socially acceptable to target Jews or blacks. All that's coming back, isn't it? So they go after one of the smallest, least organized, most isolated groups of people on the planet. They come after trans people. I mean, such a tiny percent of the population, it doesn't even hardly count, you know? But it's a weak group that can't defend themselves, and bullies love to pick on people who can't defend themselves because they're cowards. Of course, these are cowards with a lot of money, and they're going to cause a lot of harm. So they accused Serena of being a man. Her sister, too. They do that with black women a lot that are in sports because, you know, they have muscles or because they don't have high cheekbones and skinny little faces like maybe European descended people, you know, or they're muscular, or they've got broad shoulders, or whatever excuse, you know, like white womanhood is the standard by which we should judge everybody kind of thing. So Serena's been catching stuff for a long time. They accuse her of being on hormones, male hormones, steroids, because, you know, you can't give a woman credit for just being good at something. It's got to be a trick. It's got to be a cheat. You got to have done something wrong. And in our culture, we tend to think of African American women as masculine anyway because, well, shoot, we've forced them to work like dogs and brutes and still do, you know? So, Serena's had to listen to some stuff and still hold her head up and go out there and do her job and raise her baby and have her life. I wouldn't have the grace for it. I'd be all up in their business. I'd be all up. I've got tears in my eyes right now thinking about it. Somebody treat me like that, oh my God, I'd be all mouth and no brain. Which is probably why I'm sitting here living in a shed with no running water or, you know. Right, Zoomovoid? So, because, you know, don't be inappropriate. You be quiet. Like Uncle Sam said, don't make a fuss. Don't cause any commotion. Don't attract the wrong kind of attention, you know. They just, let's be peaceful. Let's be happy. While they smacking you around and calling you names and accusing you of who knows what. And so, Google has gotten rid of African American history. And what you saw up there at that Super Bowl game, that was pure African American history. That was a college level lecture on African American history and how the game is rigged. And if you think Lamar and Serena don't know that they are what's called tokens, because the main culture will let a few people through, especially if they think they won't cause any trouble. Like Oprah. Like Bill Cosby. I mean, there's some good ones too. There's not always just troublemakers that give you headaches and embarrass the heck out of you. There's some good people too that accidentally get tokenized. But there's so much talent, you know, that doesn't ever get a chance. So much talent. In fact, so much talent that's actively hunted down and stopped, not just discouraged, but cut off so they can't. So Serena up there crip walking. Mm-hmm. And the crowd just went nuts, of course. So if you're hearing a lot of people, if you're hearing a lot of people complaining about the Super Bowl, I didn't understand the words. Well, you know what? I didn't understand the words. I wasn't raised in African American culture. I was just sort of next to it. I only got to hear the palatable parts, the parts people wanted me to hear. You know, my parents were into jazz, so I knew like Billie Holiday and Cab Calloway and Duke Ellington, but I didn't know their stories. I didn't know that they weren't allowed to sleep in hotel rooms while on tour, and that they were chased down by locals who were afraid of them because of their skin color. I didn't know that stuff, you know. But I can sing some Ella Fitzgerald. I won't, because you don't want to hear me sing. So I didn't know anything about hip-hop, rap. I barely know anything about Compton. Barely know anything about the Crips and the Bloods, who, by the way, Kendrick Lamar had a concert. It's trying to unite the gangs. Because, let's face it, there's a bigger and more lethal and more dangerous enemy than each other. He's trying to unite the gangs. Had a big concert where they all sang together, danced together. Real celebration. So I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. And you'll hear a lot of people, I didn't understand the words. Well, yeah, he sings really fast and my brain couldn't process it fast enough. And I didn't know the names of the songs or anything because I don't listen to the genre because it confuses me. Also, it's so problematic. There's so much of the stuff that sells. It has so many nasty words about women and nasty words about black people and nasty words about gay people, and I don't want to weed through all that, you know? Of course, the record producers, they promote that stuff and encourage it. But man, I didn't know what I was listening to. No, I did not. So I didn't even know they were individual songs. I didn't know it was a medley. I didn't know what album they were off of, or that they were an album from albums. What years those albums came out. They're fairly recent, which is interesting. I didn't know what the songs meant. I didn't know anything. So what I do, I didn't sit and say, I didn't understand it. We're Super Bowl, whatever. I went online and learned some stuff. You know, I know why they're mad about Drake. The thing with Drake just started off as a regular old rap battle. People compete with each other and they say stuff about each other. Whether it's true or not, sometimes is up for debate. In this case, I have a feeling a lot of it's true. I can't substantiate anything I just said, you know. But, so they got into a thing, a competition. That's all, just a competition. Disrespecting each other and throwing albums back and forth at each other. And, you know, it's a thing. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I spit words better than you. I got more to say than you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, posturing. I'm the man and you're a fool. That kind of thing. So you'll never be as good as me. Kind of a war cry, battle cry kind of a thing. And on one level, that's fine. But then it started getting way too serious. And I guess Drake decided to sue Lamar because of some things he said about him. And I ain't going to go into who gets to say what. People get to say what they say, and they get to accept the consequences of that. I'm a big believer in accepting consequences, you know. But I'm not going to say that, I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it. The accusations are pretty serious, I'll tell you that. The things that Lamar's saying about Drake. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure Lamar ain't very squeaky clean either. I don't know. But it's a standard practice in in hip hop and rap culture to do these little digs at each other and uh, get into rap wars, battles, rap battles. So this one just turned out to get real salty. And I can't address that because I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm not letting myself off the hook because I'm white. I'm just saying I wasn't there and I don't know. So I'm not the expert and I'm not qualified to address it. I've known about most of this stuff for less than 24 hours and I don't have a clue. And I'm not going to pretend I do. And I'm not going to pretend, as a person raised white, that I get to make any sort of critical commentary about it. I just get to try to understand it. And I wish all these people complaining about that halftime show would try to understand it too. But if there's not going to be any calendar references to African American history anymore, we got to do it for ourselves. Somebody else just said that. Ain't nobody coming to rescue us. We got to do it for ourselves. Google, Facebook, YouTube, Minecraft, Microsoft that owns Minecraft. They just want us to buy stuff and shut up and be good. So, anyway, I'm just saying that Serena getting up there. Some people say it's the next level petty. No. This isn't about petty. This is about she was free. It didn't matter what anybody said. She could just celebrate she could celebrate Compton, her hometown, and her people, and her culture, and her victory, and her athleticism. She could just celebrate it openly and be appreciated while millions of people cheered. We got to learn to be that way with each other, We got to learn to be community to each other and family to each other because they're going to do everything they can to tear us apart. Erase our history, burn our books, not let us go to doctors, I bet they're going to repeal marriage equality. I bet they're going to try anyway. We got to stay with each other. Oh, I get so sad and scared. I don't know why, but that Google thing hit me in some kind of way. More than usual. It was like, God, this is for real. I mean, I expected Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's been a dingbat for... Gee, he's God. Facebook needs more masculine energy. Get out of my face, bro. Gee, yes, men are under threat. Everybody's trying to go after white men, sure. Heterosexual white men. That's all we think about all day long. We're not worried about how to feed our kids or keep a roof over our head or get medical care or keep our jobs or nothing else is important to us. We just care about hurting white men, hurting their widow feelings. So it's a real hard time to be not one of them, Not one of us. I got the double entendre, the hidden message behind that one, too. Who's that walking around over there? Why is there a llama twirling in circles over there by my aquarium? Can you tell me? If I go over there and try to rescue it, it'll probably... Is that a llama or a sheep? I think it's a sheep. It'll probably just spawn. No, I think it's a llama. Let's go see. So I'm real proud of Ms. Williams for doing that. And she looked good too, didn't she? Yes, ma'am. And that whole performance, all the symbolism in it, that wasn't just some kind of street rap battle thing. That was high art. That was... Oh, I see what's going on. We have one that got lost. Okay, well, let me see if I can rescue you. I hear you. I'm coming. Alright. I gotta... first of all, I gotta rescue mine. and put her over here. Oh, that's too close, those bushes. She'll get poked. So don't listen to them. If they tell you that something is a bad thing, it might not be. Did you see that? Did it despawn? No, it's right there. Okay. Let me see if I can get you in here. You want to come in? I don't like this old wall anyway. Well, if you're coming that way, I'm going to do this. I better hunch down so I don't drown, maybe. Wouldn't that be nice? I hear you. I'm trying. You were just kind of waiting for me to show up, weren't you? You were just going to bounce up and down there until I fix it for you. Okay, well. Don't put it in a boat. Whatever you do, don't put it in a boat. Mercy. Boats are not a good thing. This is so deep. I see why I put all this fence here, but apparently it's just going to cause trouble. Should I take it out? I think I will. So, you know, it's like, you want to make sure your kid does something you don't want him to do, tell him not to do it. And I'm telling you, if you go study up on this halftime show, you're going to learn some interesting things. I've never been so tickled with Samuel L. Jackson in my life. He must have had a ball. Didn't he look like he was having a good time? Uh-oh. I want that Yama to get in the boat and die. Now, where is it? Where to go? 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 Did it get in the boat? That's got to be one of the old ones. I'm telling you. Well, anyway, I tried. See, I should be glad I didn't put the mule over there, huh? Oh, why'd you go in the water? 'Cause you're trying to kill me, obviously. This game is mean. Well, I found her. Yama, I don't know where it went, but I found her. Whoop, I don't want to lead, I want to ride. So if you're from a group of people that other people think are nasty or ugly or stupid or whatever, you know, all that junk they say to try to prop themselves up because they really feel like they're that way. They think they're inferior. They think they're stupid and dirty and lazy, and so they call other people that, you know. If you're from a group of people that's been treated really bad or treated like you're disgusting and perverted and ugly and useless, and you're not. You have value, and they only say those things because they're scared. It's going to get bad. It's going to get real bad. You know, people do awful things when they're scared. People do awful things. It's going to get real bad. Find your family. Find the people that will help you when things get crazy, because we need each other now more than ever, ever, ever in my whole life. You know, my parents told me things about what it was like during World War II, and they didn't know that much because they were both stateside working on the atomic bomb of all things in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So they knew what the government was telling them and what the newspapers were telling them, pretty much the same thing. So they didn't know a whole lot about it. But it was bad times. There wasn't enough of anything. People had to grow gardens because any food the big farms were producing, they were trying to send it overseas to feed the soldiers and sailors and stuff. It was bad times. It was bad times. And what happened over in Europe and Asia, it was bad times, bro. Millions of people. Millions of people. And they didn't just kill them outright, you know, they made them suffer. They made them suffer a lot. They took pleasure in making them suffer. And you can see that happening right now. There's a woman that's a general. They threw her out of her house with 3 hours' notice. People with cancer now can't get medical care because research has been cut off, and they had qualified for some research program or other, and they were getting drugs that were making them better, while the scientists studied them, make sure that the treatment was really going to work, and their treatments have stopped and they're dying. People don't get Medicare and Medicaid on the table. How are you going to get your insulin for your diabetes? How are you going to get food? How am I going to get food if they cut off food stamps? How am I going to pay for... I don't buy much. What I do buy is necessary things, mobility stuff, and ways to communicate with the outside world. And, you know, you hear me talking about food. I don't spend much on food, and I stretch it. But if they cut off my Social Security, I won't be able to pay off my debts. Again, what did I buy? Well, I tried to get my truck repaired. It didn't work, but I tried. I bought me a couple mobility scooters. I bought me some solar stuff, both panels and battery packs to store the electricity. I bought a new heater so I wouldn't freeze to death. Bought a new propane tank so I'd have more, you know, I could not be so scared between times that people could come and take my propane tanks to get them filled. So I'd have 6 tanks instead of 5. You know, I didn't buy anything crazy. I bought some clothes, but most of them were under $5. Some of them under $3. Yeah, I didn't spend money on anything stupid, that's for sure. But if they cut off my Social Security retirement money, and you know I paid into that after decades and decades of hard work. That food stamp says $124 a month. That's all, $124 a month. And I haven't even used my Medicaid and Medicare for years because I can't get to a doctor or a clinic. I'm damn near 70 years old. I turned 70 this year. Excuse me. Now, I'm obviously very healthy. What more are you going to put me through? No running water, no toilet, no friends, no family, no vehicle. This is why people end up getting addicted, you know, because they lose hope and they need to self-medicate to stand the pain. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. There was a time in my life when I woulda. I'm not doing it now. I'm not going to give the bastards the opportunity. Well, here we are. I guess it's about 38 minutes of video. If you're looking for something to do, learn how to crip walk and why. Learn about the history of your people, you know. Ask questions, oral histories. Family members, grandmas, aunts, whatever, cousins, anybody who knows your family history. The stuff that they would like to erase because it makes you unique and special and proud of yourself, and they don't want you proud of yourself, that's for sure. They want you ashamed and scared and afraid of other people, and don't let them do that to us. Don't let them do that to us. Learn who you are and why that's precious and important and valuable, and what you can learn from it, and how to live. How to live well. Not just survive, not just live off of beanie weenies and ramen noodles, although I know we gotta do that. I know we gotta. But there's gotta be more. You know, I used to get food pantry stuff and I'd get so depressed because it was such awful food. So that, my dears, is why I taught myself how to cook. Like I told you, I was raised upper middle class. So I knew what duck and turkey and prime rib and, pâté de foie gras that I can't pronounce because I'm not French and I don't even try. I knew what those things tasted like. Truffles, the chocolate ones. I haven't ever had the mushroom ones. I would like to. Stuff like that. I knew what they tasted like, and here I was living off of this crap people would put in food pantry baskets of crap they didn't want to eat, and they dump it for us to eat. and how depressing that was. So I learned how to do Asian style cooking and a little bit of French and German and a little bit of soul food. So that I could take those ingredients, add a few little sauces or seasonings or whatever, and turn them into something that I could actually stand to swallow. We're going to have to be that way now. We're going to have to be that way now. It ain't about having the fancy stuff and the cool stuff, and it's about, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. You better be ready. You better be ready. It's coming, and it's coming soon. It's coming faster than I thought it would. You know? I mean, in a few weeks, they've caused more mess and gall and destruction and heartbreak and confusion. And they're burning the Library of Alexandria. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. They're burning the Library of Alexandria. You know, many, many years ago when I learned about that, I learned about it from Dr. Carl Sagan. When I learned about the Library of Alexandria and how a bunch of fanatics went in there and destroyed as much as the total knowledge of the human race from all over the world as they possibly could, I swore back then at the ripe old age of what, maybe 19 something, that I was not going to sit by quietly and let it happen again. And here we are. Here we are, babies. They're coming. They've got their pitchforks, they've got their torches, they are coming. They've got us all mad at each other and scared of each other when we should be mad and scared of them. We should be going after them. That's why they did it, to divide and conquer. If we all fight each other, we can't fight them. My cat just knocked over my tea kettle. So, if you're feeling sad and scared because of the junk that's going on these days, I want you to remember Serena Williams. Dance like your life depended on it, because it does. Okay. You are alive. Wake up. I'd hug you, but my arms don't bend. Goodbye.